What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Power Season 2 Book... Power Book 2, Season 2, Episode 9. So we are almost at the end of this season, and we seeing how things are starting to come together. We're also starting to see what the storylines are going to look like for next season, right? Because we know we already got a Season 3 coming. So let's talk about it. So this episode starts off with Tariq going into class, and we see Professor Tate writing on the board, and he's like, "Where's everybody at?" And he said, he said, "What do you mean, Tariq?" He said, "Class is canceled," and all of a sudden, all of the ghosts of Christmas past start showing up. Everybody that Tariq did anything to or had any hand in their demise is there. We saw Kanan, we saw Lala, we saw Proctor, the cop that he killed. We even saw Raina, right? And so then we see Professor Milgram saying, "Oh, wait a minute, you didn't forget about me yet, did you?" And he was like, "What you talking about? I didn't have anything to do with it." And he said, "Really?" She was like, "Really, you didn't? Like, you're not the reason why I killed myself, And then the phone starts ringing and it says, "Dad." Let me tell y'all, whatever is going on between Courtney Kemp and Omari Hardrick, I really, really need y'all to figure it out, because that would have been the perfect scene for Ghost to be there, right? That scene earlier in the season where Tariq got arrested and he had that letter, it would have been perfect if it had been in Ghost's voice. As Tariq was reading the letter, it was Ghost's voice talking. I need that. If we're gonna bring back all these other people that died, we can get Ghost in there. Anyway, so he wakes up and out of his dream, his phone is actually ringing, and it's Davis calling him, wanting to know what in the world does Tate know, and why is the prosecution calling him to the stand. And Tariq was like, "I don't know, I have no idea what would Tate have to say about me, good or bad?" Well, we know he got plenty to say, but Tariq's like, "He helping me out. We got a deal, So then, we see Tate talking to his brother, and Tate saying the same thing. Tate's like, "What in the world do I have to do with this? Why am I being called to testify?" And the brother was like, "Oh, she's just trying to get you to basically be a rebuttal witness to Professor, to Carrie, and basically say she's a nice girl. Maybe she slept around with a lot of people, but she's really not a bad guy, a bad girl." And I'm thinking, what does that matter? Again, it has nothing to do with the case. She had nothing to lend to the case, and neither does Tate. It's just a fishing expedition. So while they're sitting there, the brother gets a phone call from a woman who claims that she witnessed the murder and she can identify a suspect in the Jabari case. And he tells his brother, he's like, "Man, her story keeps changing. She's not really a reliable witness. So I really have been dodging her calls." He was like, "You think I should take her call?" And Tate was like, "Listen, I trust your judgment. Do what you feel like you need to do." And then he said, "Well, maybe you should talk to him, So then, Tariq actually shows up for class, and it's almost like deja vu, because Tate is writing on the chalkboard, but class is canceled, and he lets Tariq know, "Listen, class is canceled." And then he tells him, "Listen, they got me testifying in court. What could they possibly want from me?" He said, "But I tell you what, if I don't get what you told me that you were going to give me, I'm going to tell you what they are going to get from me." And so he was like, "I told you what you needed to know." He was like, "No, I need proof. You telling me that there's a picture, that don't mean nothing. I need the picture." So Tariq was like, "All right, fine. So while this is going on, we see Monet did go to Dante, right? So Monet is with Dante. She's still looking for Zeke. Zeke's not answering her phone calls. She's blowing his phone up. Zeke actually ends up calling Dante. He wants to talk to him. And but he doesn't want Monet there. So Zeke and Dante meet up, and basically Zeke is, trying to figure out the deal. Who are you? Where'd you come from? Why you ain't been around? And Dante gave him the old song and dance about he didn't know, and then he went away in the military, and he, got hemmed up in a charge, and then when he finally found out, then he was trying to work his way back, the whole, and then he was like, "But your mom really loves you. You need to talk to her." And he was like, Yeah, I don't really think I had nothing to say to her. He was like, listen, you really need to talk to your mom. At least give her the opportunity to tell her story. Like, let her tell you what happened and why she felt, why she did what she did. So later on in the episode, we see them talk, and she explains that she got pregnant. She went down south, had the baby, left the baby with her sister. And then when they wanted you to come go to school, I was just happy to be your auntie. Like, I was just happy to be around you every day. I didn't really want to rock the boat. I thought you had your future ahead of you, but all of that's great, and I pretty much figured that whole story out. I still don't understand the time thing. Why did they change his age? If anybody can give me an explanation, please put it in the comments. Because I still don't understand why they made him 3 years younger. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, all of it above, check, and check. Why you change his age? That just seemed like an unnecessary part of the lie. But whatever. Zeke told both of them, yeah, all right, it's whatever. But because Dante offered to give him a private coach, so he was like, all right, it's whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and take this private coach, but once I get drafted into the NBA, I'm out. Deuces, both to both of y'all. Bye bye. I'm out. Duke, and Duke. So while this is going on, Dante is back at the house. But Dante is back at the house with Kane. And Kane is cleaning up the cleaver, and I'm thinking that maybe he just got rid of, Chef's body. I don't know, but that's what I felt like was going on with that. And Dante tells him, like, listen, he tells him, you need to stay here. He said, you my number 2 now. You can't go nowhere. He was like, what you talking about? I need to go home. Because Lorenzo had just called him and told him to get his ass home. And he was like, what you talking about? I gotta go home. He was like, no, maybe you don't understand what I'm saying. You don't go anywhere. And then he forced Kanan to put his fingerprint in the security, which basically now he can track his phone and track when he's in and out of the apartment. Again, like I said, I don't think that he trusts Kanan. I think he absolutely knows that Kanan was the one that robbed him. And all of this is a part of the I need to keep a tighter eye on you situation. So Lorenzo is back at the house. He done tore the house up. He done ransacked the damn house, okay? Mad, I guess, or whatever. So Drew and Diana go to check on him, and like they're like, Daddy, are you okay? Like, what is going on? And he was like, Nah, I ain't alright. Like, were you not at that dinner table last night when you told me that my wife had a whole boyfriend and baby that I didn't know nothing about? Like, were you not there? No, I'm not okay. So then he started talking about how he need his stash. And they were like, well, there is no stash. Like, we robbed the Connect. He was like, what the fuck you mean y'all robbed the Connect? He was like, well, I mean, because he looking for Guap, and Guap, he thinking that they not answering, they just ignore him. And they was like, no, he kind of not here no more. So he tells them, he said, listen, I don't care what you have to do. I don't care how you do it, but y'all need to get my damn stash. So Diana and Drew get to talking, and Diana was like, why y'all ain't tell me what was going on? Y'all could trust me. And Drew was like, girl, bye. Like, have you not been paying attention to how you've been moving lately? Like, can't nobody trust you? Because every time we say something to you, it goes straight to Daddy. And she was like, that's not true. She was like, why are you mad at me? Like, all I did was tell the truth. He was like, but you really didn't have to do what you did. Like, you really didn't have to blow up the whole damn dinner table, okay? You might have been telling the truth, but you didn't have to blow up the whole dinner table. So then, they come up with this plan. So Diana knows where Tariq keeps the stash up on the roof. And she knows that she has to get a scan to get into his phone to get the QR code. Drew, she said, but you need to get the ID from your boyfriend so we have access to the building to get to the rooftop. So they come up with this plan. She was like, I can take care of my end if you take care of your end. All right. So here we go with another one of them Ocean's 11 plans, okay? All right. So then we have Tariq is back in court. He done gave Tate the picture he looking for, and so of course Tate testifies and says all the right things on the stand. And then right before he's going to get off the stand, the prosecution is like, anything else you want to add? And he was like, well, I mean, it might be something that's not a big deal, but my brother did mention, his brother is sitting right there in the court, right? He said, my brother mentioned something about some witnesses, but he didn't talk to them. I don't know. Something about maybe their story isn't reliable. So, of course, this turn, Davis is like, oh, wait a minute, Your Honor, this is a mistrial. They had witnesses that said there were two people there that night, and they didn't even bother to talk to them. Oh, my goodness, my client isn't getting a fair trial. And so they go into the judge's chambers, and the judge basically says, listen, you have 24 hours to give me good reason why I should move forward with this case, because if not, it ain't looking good for you, bruh. It ain't looking good for you. So I feel like that's what we're going to go with this trial. Like, it's going to end up being a mistrial because we have one more episode left. Unless they're going to carry this trial over into the new year, which I feel like they'll probably want to wrap that part of the storyline up, but who knows. So, Drew gets the key card. Y'all know, with no doubt he was going to get the key card, right? He went over to the boyfriend, seduced them, whatever. Diana shows up at Tariq's dorm with this old sob story. I mean, she's telling the truth, but, she manipulating Tariq at the same time. She's talking about how everybody's mad at her, how she told everybody what happened with her mom, and all she did was tell the truth, and now they mad at her. And she she tells Tariq that Monet is really Zeke's mom, not her aunt. And, of course, that freaked, Tariq out like, what? But he left to go get her some water, and Diana was able to get the QR code. So her and Drew were able to rob and steal the stash back. So we went through all that last week just to get the stash back. But whatever. Him and Lorenzo go riding out like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And they drop their drugs off all over Brooklyn. And they get their money. And you can see Drew as the day went on. As they got more and more money in their pocket. He got happier and happier. Because at first he ain't looked too happy to be out on delivery with his daddy. But slowly but surely, it was like, okay, it was getting good to him, right? So then the prosecutor, because she desperate at this point, she shows up down to Braden's house with Braden and his brother. And she's like, look, I ain't want to have to go down this road, but I'm going to have to play hardball, okay? I know that you are more involved in this than what you let on. Like, we have you on surveillance. They showed the pictures of the night that Kanan had kidnapped them. And was able to make the connection between Kanan and Ramirez, the cop, and de facto Tariq. Because they know, because of the wire, that Tariq knows Kanan and Braden knows Kanan. So they're making all these connections. Now, Braden, I give Braden credit. Braden was like, I ain't saying shit. I don't know shit. I ain't see shit. You can't prove shit. But, of course, his snitch-ass brother was like, I tell it. I will tell it. Just put me on the stand and I will tell it all. So, of course, Braden and his brother's attorney is there. And the attorney is like, okay, look, I can't control what this fool says. But if this fool gets up on the stand and decides he wants to testify against a major drug organization, both him and his brother get immunity. So, Braden is covered. At this point, Braden gets immunity. But now he knows that they're going to testify, that his brother's going to testify against Tariq. He gets back to the dorm room, and before he could kind of, you could tell he's feeling a little bit guilty, but before he could kind of tell Tariq about it, before he could tell Tariq about the whole situation, he finds out that Tariq took that damn picture that he told him not to take and ended up dropping it off to Tate. So at that point, he pissed off, and he doesn't feel any obligation to tell Tariq anything, which I can absolutely understand. Now, while all of this is going on, Zeke is having a press conference letting them know that he's leaving school to get ready for the draft, that he's going to be training and getting ready for the draft. But while he's sitting there, all of a sudden, everybody's phones start going off. Somebody done leaked the story to the press that instead of him being 19 like everybody thought he was, he's really 23, which means that he had lied to the NCAA, which means that he now is ineligible, really, because he's been playing under the wrong age and all this other stuff. And of course his agent is like, yeah, that's a wrap for us. So later on, we see him talking to Monet and Dante. And this is how I know Dante did that shit. Dante leaked that story because Dante was like, okay, well, let's leave. Let's just get on my jet plane and fly off into Never Never Land and become one big happy family. And Monet is giving him this side eye like, bruh. And Zeke is like, I don't even know you and I don't even like her. And then next thing you know, somebody drives by and takes shots at them. Again, I think that's Dante setting it up, manipulating Monet into feeling like they absolutely have to make this move and leave town. Now, Monet, I think, takes this as an opportunity to flip it on Lorenzo because she want to get rid of Lorenzo. So she tells, she had already sort of laid the foundation earlier, saying that she would leave with him, but they had to get rid of Lorenzo. Now she's saying Lorenzo taking shots at us. We got to get rid of Lorenzo. Now, the reason why I don't think it's Monet is because even with a fake situation, I don't think Monet would take the chance of a stray bullet or ricochet or anything actually hitting Zeke. I don't think she would take that sort of a chance, whereas Dante would. I just think he would. So I believe that both of those situations were Dante manipulating and setting this whole thing up. Now, while this is going on, Tariq is having a conversation with Lauren, and that's when he finds out that Lauren's wire not only had him on tape, talking to her about the book, but her wire also has Braden on tape and Kanan. And so now Tariq is like, yo, you need to get out of town. Like, you are in trouble. Like, you got Kanan on tape, and that could be a problem. And so she was like, what do you mean? You know, they said that I was safe. He was like, all right, if you want to listen to them, fine. But I'm telling you, you're in trouble. You need to go to your parents' house. You need to hide out until till you hear from me. I'm going to call you. So later on that night, Tariq is talking to Effie. Now, I find it funny that they sitting there eating some damn oodles and noodles. But now y'all want to act like these are some poor college students eating some damn oodles and noodles. When any other time, you got Tariq walking around in $10,000 sneakers and $7,000 Fendi coats. I'm just saying. Anyway, but he lets Effie know about the whole situation with Lauren. And, of course, Effie is like, are you serious right now? Like, she not built like us. Like, she gonna snitch. She not gonna be able to hold up. Tariq, you need to handle it. And Tariq was like, I got it under control. Don't worry about it. So Effie goes to Kane and lets Kane know and says, listen, I'm just letting you know that they got her on the wire and she gonna testify and your name is all up in it. So then Kaden goes to Braden and says, listen, I heard about this wire with my name in it. So you need to handle it. And either you gonna handle her or I'm gonna handle you. That's however you want to carry it. However you want to carry it. Now, while all this is going on, Tate is happier than a pig in slop, and he done went down to the head of the DNC and showed him the picture. So I guess that's setting us up for Tate's story for him to get ready to run again. Then we see the prosecutor roll up on Braden and say, listen, I know your brother's all set to testify and everything, but for real, you the one that know what's up. Like, you're Tariq's roommate. You probably his partner in crime. I need you to testify against the Tejadas. And that way, by the time your brothers goes to testify, everybody will be locked up. If you give me the information I need, they'll be locked up, and you won't have to worry about, being safe from them. But we already know that that's some bullshit, and she know it too, and so does Braden. Then we see that Ghost Lawyer done picked Tariq up and showed Tariq where Jazz has been adopted, and they having a whole birthday party for the little girl. And I was just thinking to myself, whatever. To me, that was an unnecessary scene. Like, you already told Tariq what was happening. I don't feel like you needed to see it. Other than the fact of because they said that Ghost wanted her last name changed and everything in the adoption seal, so Tariq or anybody else wouldn't be able to find her later. The only reason why I could see that they had that scene is that Tariq would know where she is. Like, you're not going to be able to find her by her name because they're going to change her name and the adoption is going to be sealed. But I'm going to take you by the house where she living so you at least know where to find her. That's the only thing I could think of, because other than that, there really was no purpose in that scene. Then we see Effie and Braden talking. Braden wanted to talk to Effie, and basically, he's trying to find another way out of the situation other than killing Lauren. Because he just ain't got the heart for that. Like, he ain't built for this. He ain't built for the let me kill Lauren situation, okay? So Monet finally agrees, but Effie tells him, listen, you know what you got to do. You knew what you had to do before you called me. I don't know what you thought I was going to say different, but it is what it is. So then Monet finally tells Dante, listen, I'll ride off into the sunset with you. Okay, fine. You win, but we taking all my kids. We ain't taking just Zeke. We taking all the kids. So Dante was like, cool, meet me back at the such and such at the such and such. So he goes back to the apartment. Kane is there. He goes to get his little go bag and realizes that the go bag is gone. Because up until that point, he honestly hadn't thought about the go bag. He knew he got robbed, but I don't think he thought about that. Because that's the bag that had the ring in it and his IDs and his money. So when he realizes the bag is gone, that's when we find out that what I had suspected all along was absolutely true. He told Kanan, he said, listen, I know you robbed me and I let that shit slide, but I need that bag back. Like, I'm not playing games with you. And, Kane was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have no bag. But, of course, he has a tracker in the bag, and the bag takes him right to where? Stansfield. So, of course, he figures that Tariq has the bag. Because who else the fuck at Stansfield would have the bag? I don't know. So, he tells Kanan, you staying right here until I get back. Because, again, I feel like he has every intention of killing Kanan. But if Kanan was anybody other than Monet's son, but because he really can't kill Kanan because of the whole manipulation thing, he leaves Kanan alive, but he locks him in the apartment. But he leaves him with his phone. So who's the first person Kanan calls? He calls his mother. Now Monet is sitting here like, wait a minute, what? So he know that you stole his drugs, but he left you alive in his apartment with a cell phone so you could call somebody. Why would he do that? She said, wait a minute, what does this nigga look like? And that's where it cuts off, but I'm sure that Kanan sent him a picture or described him or whatever. So then Kanan texts Tariq and tells him, you need to get rid of that bag. Dante, Mecca, whoever the hell he is on his way to come and get it. So, of course, Tariq starts going through the bag trying to figure out, well, what the hell is in the bag? He finds the passports for everybody. But you know what else he finds? He finds Dante's criminal record, like his court documents. And come to find out, Dante is a high-end snitch. Dante is a high-end snitch, child. So Tariq, being the person that Tariq is, he done took pictures, he done took pictures of the documents. And we see him walking around with the bag, which I don't know why he's walking around with the bag, because he ended up coming right back to his dorm room with the bag. But he called Braden and told Braden to get Lauren out of town. Because, of course, that's his best friend and he trusts him. He don't know that Braden is really already sitting out in front of Lauren's house because he was going to kill her. So, while that's going on, Tariq goes back to the room. And again, Tariq must have taken stuff out of the bag and hid it somewhere, because he went back to the room. And when he goes back to the room, Mecca is sitting in the room waiting for him with a gun. And Tariq does what he always does. He's able to manipulate the situation because he basically lets Mecca know, look, I know you a snitch. I kept them files. So unless you want, if you want those files back, I need you to wire $2 million to an offshore account, yada, 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 boo, da, boo, da, boo. And of course he agrees to do it. But do I think he really has any intention of giving Tariq any money? Absolutely not. But on his way out the door, Mecca lets it be known that, yeah, he's been a hired assassin and he's been an undercover snitch all this time. But there was a dude by the name of Lobos who was going to testify against him. And somebody by the name of Ghost got rid of him for him. And he said, so when you get to hell, you tell your daddy I said good looking out. He said, I know your daddy and I know your Uncle Tommy. So there had been some speculation about the fact that Mecca might be Ghost's brother that they spoke of, that Ghost said his brother went to the military. He spoke of him. But I don't know. But it's clear that he knew Ghost and he knew Tommy. And then he said that he knew that he killed his daddy. Now, you can know Ghost and you can know Tommy, but how the hell do you know he killed his daddy? Again, worst kept secret ever. Now, Tariq did call Davis, and Davis was able to do a background and find out that, Dante is undercover and he's protected by the feds. He's well insulated, and he told Tariq to watch his back. So, anyway. So, while this is going on, Braden done picked Lauren up, and he's taking her out of town. They'd riding, and I don't know how long they was riding, but it was dark by the time they stopped. And he pulled over into, like, a little secluded car park, and he gets her out the car and he's getting ready to kill her, but of course he can't go through with it. So he ends up giving her a bag full of money and tells her that she needs to run. and she needs to, go far away and don't ever come back. Like, don't ever come back. And she's like, okay, 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 because of course she's scared. She's like, oh my gosh, Braden was gonna kill me. So just as he's getting ready to do that, then this car comes up behind him, and I thought it was Kane. I said Kane done followed them, but then I forgot Kane was locked in the damn apartment. Well, it was Effie, because Effie knew that Braden wasn't gonna go through with it. Effie knew Braden didn't have the heart to go through with it, so Effie takes Lauren, makes her get in the car, and she's like, I'm gonna handle it. Now, personally, until I see a body, I don't believe Lauren did. I don't believe Effie did it. I think we supposed to think Effie did it, but I don't think Effie could go through with it either, because Effie play hard, but I don't know if she really could have done it, but maybe she did, because, she want Tariq all to herself, and she know that Tariq got some feelings for Lauren, so maybe she did do it, child. I don't know. But anyway, that's what had happened there. So while that's going on, Monet done got into Fort Knox, aka Dante's apartment, and when Dante comes home, he sees Monet and Kane is standing there. Monet was like, "Oh, so this is the game you've been playing all along. Like, that's what this is all about. You just and Kane was like, so you've been playing me the whole time? Yes, bruh, you've been getting played the whole time." So Monet lets him know, look, I see you and you see me and we see each other. And I'm still going to go along with the get along. I'm still going to leave town with you, and I'm going to still do what I said I was going to do. But we're going to get rid of Lorenzo before we get out of here. We're going to take care of Lorenzo, okay? And, of course, Dante is with it. Dante like, all right, let's do it. So we see Effie come back, and, you can't tell. I mean, she definitely looked like she holding something. Whether it's guilt because she killed Lauren or guilt because she let Lauren go. I don't know. But you could definitely see that something is weighing on her. But she slide back in that dorm room like she go to Stansfield. And she get up in the bed with Tariq. And he roll over and start cuddling with her like that's where they supposed to be. I mean, okay, girl. If you like it, I love it. And that was the end of the episode. So next week is the season finale, child. So we're going to see how they wrap all this up until next season. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.